Right, I want us to see how they set this in examination, the functions. This is the simplest section in mathematics, and yet in marks amaning. As what marks. This one, you need to store an equation of this. What type of a graph is this? In this particular case, the graph is a hyperbola. Comultis telling a hyperbola, so 4 is in the Number 1, ungabuzwe x-intercept, ubuzwe y-intercept, ubuzwe x-asymptote, ubuzwe y-asymptote. Only 4. Ayikho into ongabuzwa wona ngaphezu kwalokho. Asambeni. When I look at this graph, this is the equation that I'm given as f of x is equals to a over x minus p plus q. The very same question. Find us exactly what is it that we're looking for. Equation mighty, find the equation. In this case, sifuna yonke into ekhona lapho ngaphandle kuka x no y. We're not going to touch the y, we're not going to touch x. Sifuna u-a, u-p, u-q. But I know what is p, it is the x asymptote, and I know what is q, it is the y asymptote. Looking at this graph, if you look check a1 uzoba positive, no uzoba negative in. Looking at this graph, you check the new Cartesian plane, In this case, this is the new Cartesian plane. The graph here to map quadrants. It will a quadrant yoqala where x a positive, no y a positive. Therefore, a in this case will be positive because we have a quadrant, not a quadrant. If this graph was sketched in this quadrant and that quadrant, the value of that a was going to be negative. Now, we do have an idea now that the a that we are going to get should be positive. Let's do this thing. Sifuna a, no p, no q. It is very easy to find p and q. In this case, the x asymptote is p, and the y asymptote will be q. Let's push those values where they belong. So in other words, we're going to have y is equals to a over x minus, then we write the value of p. In this case, what is p? It is the x asymptote. In this case, the x asymptote is 4. We just use our God-given eyes and see the value of 4 there. So x is equals to 4. This is the x asymptote. Plus, what is the value of q? Remember, q is nothing else but the y asymptote. You just use your eyes, you check where these asymptotes will catch the y-axis. In this particular case, it cuts it at 2, positive 2. So the value of q then is 2. We are halfway there. We do have the value of p now as 4, and the value of q now as 2. Sishota ngoba manje, sishota ngo a. Now, how do you find a? Because we've got so many unknowns. Asmazu y, asmazu x, asmazu a. So we can't have 3 unknowns. How do we do that? You go to this graph. Let's see it. You look for any other point eslazio. Now, when you go to this graph, I don't know this point, I don't know this one, and there's nothing indicated here. I come to this side. There is a point that you know. X is 5 and y is 3. We do have the point that we know which is on this graph. You don't just take any point. Uthatha point any graph oyifunayo okhuluma ngayo. We're dealing with this graph, so this is the point that you know which is in this graph. That is the point T. X ubani lapho u5 and y ubani u3. So we know that whenever we see x singamfaka u5, lapho sibona khona y singamfaka u3. Asenzeni kanjalo. Nangu y, so isikhonisa y ngifaka bani? Ngifaka u3 is equals to a engimfunayo. Yes, I know. And I do have an idea of this a, which a must be positive since it is in the first and the third quadrant. So I can't get a negative answer there. So it's a over, so x is 5. So it's 5 minus this value, which is 4. Remember, the 4 simthola kanjani? We x asymptote yethu. Plus 2. Yini esifunayo? Sifuna ukuthola ivalue ka-a ukuze sibe ne-equation ephelele. Phela masifuna i-equation so sifuna u-a no p no q. Fortunately, sesiyamazi u-p ukuthi u4 no q ukuthi u2. Sishoda ngo-a so that sizoba ne-equation yethu iphelele siyonke. Asimtholene ku-a wethu. U-a ula. Asisusa yonke into esithiwa ka-a, asale yedwa a, sithiwa siyam-isolate u-a, sifuna asale yedwa. Yiphi into yokuqala engizoyisusa la? Yilo 2. Lo 2 mangimsusa ngimletha ngala uba njani? Uba negative. In other words, what is 5 minus 4? It is 1. 5 minus 4 is 1. So it's no A over 1, which is A. Should sell no A this side, no 2 zuzangala, ubobani with 3 minus 2. So what are we left with this side? So sell no A, alingano bani, no 3, no, so minus no 2. What is 3 minus 2? So therefore our value of A will be equals to 3 minus 2 is 1. Is this a positive answer? Yes, it is a positive answer. Did we expect to get a positive answer? Yes, we expected to get a positive answer. But why? Because we can see that our graph is in the first and the third quadrant, where both values are positive. All right. This is not the end. We're not required to find A, B, and Q. We're required to find the whole equation. So it is important that you come down here and write the equation in full to get the maximum marks. What is my equation? F of x is equals to, you push the value of A that we now know. In this case, it is 1. This is divided by x minus, what was the value of P in this case? It is 4. Remember, this is the x asymptote. This is the value of P. Then Q will be your y asymptote. In this case, we are adding 2. What is this saying? From the graph y is A over x, we shifted the original graph. If this was the original graph, this simply means we shifted this graph along the axis towards the right by 4 units, and we shifted it up by 2 units. It became this graph. Originally, it was not like this. It was down like this one. But when you shift it by 4 units, this also shifts. The Cartesian plane also shifts, but this, everything shifts. This shifted by 4 units. So the graph, everything shifted by 4 units this side, and we shifted it up by 2 units. That is why you've got this new Cartesian plane. Remember, this Cartesian plane has been shifted by 4 units to the right, and also 2 units up. So that's what we get out of this graph. Thank you.